Welcome everyone. A good Erev Shabbos, getting an early start on Friday's Mishna Yomis, Erev Shabbos, that's Erev Shabbos Parshas Vayikra, Erev Shabbos, Shabbos Zohar, and we are holding by Mishna Zayin and Mishna Ches, sponsored Lila Nishmas Alchon Bunim Ben Nafta. Sponsored by Elchanan Bunim ben Naftali Benish and the Melch ben Eliezer, for Shalema for the Yomis Mechayesar, for the Schus of Rav Yom Benish ben Malk Yudis and family, by the Fisher family, Lenishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, and by Yol Klugman and family, and the for Shalema for Meir ben Chayesara. So we're learning Mishnah Zayin, Mishnah Ches. Yesterday, Rabbi Kiva told us Neder Shehuta Miktsasa Yehuta Kula, and Neder, that part of it is revoked, so the whole neder is falls apart. Ketzad, what's an example? Omar Kainim she'eni nene lekulchem. He says, I vow not to benefit from all of you, speaking to a group. Huter echad mehem, if one of them was removed, then hutu kulan, the whole neder is removed. So if he finds out, for example, that one of them was his father, and he says, I wouldn't have had in mind my father, so once the neder is removed for his father, it's removed for the whole group, because neder shota miksasayut kulai. Sheini nena lazev lazeh. If he says, this is a very specific way of making a neder, he says that I make a vow not to benefit from Ruvain, and Shimon is like Ruvain, and Levi is like Shimon, and Yehuda is like Levi. So here we have a domino effect. If he says she'eni nena lazeh lazeh, I won't benefit from Ruvain, and Shimon is like Ruvain, and Levi is like Shimon, and Yehuda is like Levi, Huta Rishon, if the vow on Ruvain was annulled, so then Hutu Kulan, because it's a domino effect. Since Ruvain doesn't have a vow, when he says Shimon is like Ruvain, that's nothing, and therefore Levi like Shimon is nothing. Huta Achron, if he only removed Yehuda, then Ha'achron mutter, then only Yehuda is mutter, but the Kulan Asurin, they're all Asur. Now here we don't say neder shota miksasa hota kulay, because he made each one separate. Lozeh, and then lozeh, and then lozeh. Huterahim tzayi, if the middle one was, let's say he removed Levi. So then up to Levi is a good neder, and after Levi is not, because he said Ruvain should be forbidden, Shimon should be like the Ruvain, Levi should be like Shimon, and Yehuda should be like Levi. So if Levi is removed, then Yehuda is permitted too. So from there below, in other words, if he removed the neder on Levi, Reuven and Shimon are Aser, after Levi, naming Yehuda is mutter, before Levi, Reuven and Shimon still stay Aser. She'eni nena lezeh carbon, he says, that Reuven should be forbidden like a carbon, Velazek carbon, and Shimon should be forbidden like a carbon, and Levi should be forbidden like a carbon. So he's making each one a independent vow, not dependent on one another. Srichim Pesach l'kol echad ve'echad. Any vow that he wants to remove, he needs a separate Pesach, a separate opening for each one. Mishnah Ches tells us, Kainim yayin she'eni taim. He says, I vow that I'm not going to taste wine, she'ayayin ra'la me'ayin, because wine is not good for the stomach. Amrullah, they told him, but aged wine is good for the stomach. So therefore, Hutter b'miyushin, he's allowed to have aged wine because his reason isn't applicable. And once part of the neder falls apart, because he said all wine, so all wine falls apart, and he's permitted to all wine. He's not only permitted to drink aged wine, all wine, because neder shut the miksasa to kula. Similarly, if he says kainam batzel sheni time, I won't taste onion, shabatzel ralale, because onion is taxing for the heart. Amrulei halo akufri yafalalev, but the onion grown in the villages, in the small towns, is good for the heart. So then Hutter Bakufri, he's allowed to have the village onion, but since he said all onions, so that's a Neder Shehut Miksasa Hutter Kulei, so V'loi Bakufri Bilvad Hutter, he's not only permitted to have the village onion, Ela B'chala B'tzam, but he's allowed to have all onions. Ma'isa Hoya, where he said, I'm not going to have onions because it's not good for the heart, and they told him, but the village onion is good for the heart. Rameir permitted him not just the village onion, all onions, because Neder Shehut Miktsasai Hutter Kulei. We want to thank you for joining us. We want to wish everybody a really great Shabbos, and Shabbos Zachar, remind your wife to go to shul. Also, we want to remind you that there are a lot of Purim Shiurim. If you're going to watch on YouTube and look at my Purim Shir from 5784, more thoughts, Megillah Esther, the pre-Purim Shabbos table, or Purim Shir I gave in 2008, or the Purim and Angels, or Purim and Havdalah, a lot of Shiurim. They make sure to subscribe and hit like on YouTube. If you want to sponsor the first Haggadah Shir, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi at AOL.com. Have a wonderful Shabbos.